3, 2, 1. My name is John Grzinich. I'm originally from the US, but I've been living in Europe, particularly in Estonia, for the last 20 years. I generally call myself a sound artist, but it's always feels a bit limiting because I also do many things. I teach, and I call myself a cultural coordinator. So I've run an organization for a long time, nonprofit organization that hosts residencies and cultural projects. Okay, let's decide at the end here because we still have things which we. So, what else?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The airplane here.
So we can say jet and airplane. Well, I really enjoy doing workshops because I like connecting with people, and I really consider sound the original social medium, and it's a great way to kind of engage people in a kind of collective activity. So here today we work with students from the music and art school, and we took them on a little tour around the neighborhood. Super. Probably one of the main focuses of what I've done in recent years is to try to expand the idea of site-specific installation and particularly work with the elements that exist. I call it geomorphology, but these are things like water and wind, which actually shape the land and the environment. And so to use these forces as activators. And for a number of years, I've built aeolian wind harps. And here we have a great location, not far from the Rhine River, in the park here, which is a great public space. So we've built 4 wind harps, which are kind of vertical tower forms of the harps. And each harp actually has 4 strings. So we actually have a total of 16 kind of singing voices that come off from the harps. So while we hear the wind, for example, blowing in the trees and the grass and so on, once the strings are introduced, they actually kind of resonate with the force of the wind and generate these unique kind of harmonic overtones. So it has a sort of almost ghostly presence as well. Powerless flight came from the original set of wind harps I built in 2020 in Estonia. And it was really just coming out of the pandemic. So obviously what happened during the pandemic is we had a kind of shutdown of society, but for many people who work with sound, it was also a kind of reintroduction or reorientation towards the non-human. So there were many people who went out and were able to record cities as we've never heard them before, without constant traffic or activity. And it was known that the sort of natural wildlife that exists was sort of almost coming back in a way. So there seemed to be a sort of response to the human inactivity. And so powerless flight was really this feeling of this sort of takeoff, where we would actually shut down the power of the human agency that we, impose on the environment often, and allow it to sort of blossom or take off again. And I really want to remind people about that experience, that actually did happen. And we can allow it to happen more often, but hopefully in a conscious way, which isn't necessarily induced by a virus.